The Ready, Set, Grow podcast is sponsored by Ag Expert, software designed for Canadian agriculture. Visit them today at agexpert.ca.
Welcome to the Ready, Set, Grow podcast, where we interview innovative and interesting people in the agriculture and food space. My name is Joe Dales with RH Accelerator, and today we have a special guest host, Diana Laturnis from FCC in Regina. Hi, Di.
Hi there.
And we're really happy about our guest today. Mary Thornley is the Executive Director of CAMA. So thanks for joining us, Mary.
Well, thank you. And thank you both for the opportunity to allow us to share our story about CAMA and what we have to offer to your listeners.
Yeah, so why don't you just give us a little bit of the Mary story for those of us that don't know you very well. How did you become Executive Director of CAMA?
Well, my connection to CAMA goes back to my university days, just a few years ago. So I belonged to the Ag Economics and Business Club, and there was a career night consisting of CAMA members, and they were Joanne Hewitson, Len Kahn, and Walter Groth. So not long after that event, the students were invited to a CAMA meeting at the Cutton Club in Guelph. So I attended that event and I ran into Len Kahn again. So I reintroduced myself to him. And then after that event, he offered me to do some project work for him while I was still attending university. So that connection led to my first job out of university working with Len at Contact. And he has a ag advertising agency in Guelph. So Len has always been a supporter of CAMA, and he was on the board of directors many years ago. So once I started working for Contact, he encouraged me to get involved with CAMA, and I was on their board for a period of time. So skip ahead about 5 years or so, and I'm now married with two very young kids, boys, at home, living in Bruce County. And one day the phone rings, and it was the CAMA Ontario executive director at the time, Lynn Hewitt. And she was looking to retire and wondered if I wanted the job. And I had always kept in contact with Lynn, even after I had, left Contact and worked for another agency. But I always maintained that contact with Lynn. And here that one day she just calls and says, I want to retire. Do you want the job? Well, I jumped at the opportunity to work part-time from home for an association that I believed in. And that was 14 years ago. So CAMA has now become a full-time plus job for me. And I'm the executive director for the Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario chapters. I'm still working from home and still able to be available to my now teenage boys. So to me, that whole story is the power of networking, making connections is one of the benefits of being a CAMA member. The connections you make with others in the ag industry. So you just never know where those connections will benefit you. Like the CAMA members I met in university led to my first job. And then the connections I made while being a CAMA board of director, led to a fulfilling business and career for me. So for that, I'll be forever grateful to CAMA. So that's my story on how I got started and got involved with CAMA. So many years ago, actually.
That's a great story, Mary. Can you give us a description about what CAMA stands for, and what is that association all about?
Well, for sure. So CAMA is the Canadian Agri-Marketing Association. We're a unique mixture of marketing and agriculture. We're the only marketing association specifically tuned into the unique nature and challenges of the agriculture and food sector and marketing. So we have a network of close to 400 agribusiness marketing professionals across Canada. We have chapters in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. So we offer educational and networking opportunities to people in the agri-food marketing industry. We know that agribusiness is changing so fast, so CAMA organizes events that provide insights on agri-marketing topics from leading experts.
Yeah, it's a terrific networking organization. And when I started in my career, I was a member for years and years, and involved and try to support where I can. Mary, the other piece you talked about, as well as the networking, is the whole education side of things. So I know you guys always cover all the hot topics. You're probably doing webinars instead of events now, but what are some of the hot topics you've been covering lately, just to give people a scale and scope of some of the things that you bring as far as educational opportunities?
Right. Well, like so many other groups and businesses, we had to modify how we provide our content to our membership. So pre-COVID, we would have maybe 1 or 2 webinars in January and February, in those months where people don't want to travel anyways. And then all of our other events and AGMs were in person, either at lunch and learn events or in conjunction with trade shows. So, and those events would always consist of a networking cocktail reception. We'd have a guest speaker, a presentation, and a meal. So our last in-person event was at the London Farm Show in 2020. So now all events have been, and will most likely for 2021, move to sort of some webinars. So just to give you an idea of some of our most recent topics that we've covered, we've had a webinar with Dairy Farmers of Ontario, where they've covered the social media tips and tricks. We recently had Crystal Mackay and Andrew Campbell talk about their new resource and training platform called utensil.ca. And it's a great online tool for anyone who's working in ag and food. So they talked about how, in an era of virtual everything, engaging with each other has almost come to a halt, but, it really doesn't have to. So they provided tips on how we can reinvent the way we build and engage with our teams and why that's so important. So they also shared some of their learnings of online and personal support and investing in people that will lead to better results and a more committed team. We've also had David Lazarenko. He's the Chief Growth Officer with ThinkShift, and he's our 2018 Agri-Marketer of the Year recipient. And he spoke on how to develop a great agri-marketing plan for 2021. So we've also offered a segment called, Marketing Minutes, with a focus on the food industry. And we heard from 3 successful food companies about how they're approaching their marketing challenges straight from the marketing professionals themselves. David Postil is with AGI, and he's the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience. And he provided an insightful discussion on adapting the customer experience through COVID-19. We've also touched on the hemp industry and opportunities becoming available there as well. But I also want to touch on a recent event that we hosted, and it was an industry-wide virtual brainstorming session about the next generation of ag trade shows. So it was quite an undertaking in itself to consider that we're having an industry-wide virtual brainstorming session. But we had 115 people registered and 70 people on the Zoom call. It took 3 great industry leaders to moderate that session. And overall, it was really well received. We didn't, decide on the absolute path forward, but there was a lot of suggestions shared with people that they could take away from that discussion and apply to their own business. So it was more of an opportunity for fellow agri-marketers to talk with each other about something that they're all experiencing and struggling with and trying to figure out. So we had prefaced that whole discussion by saying, virtual trade shows will never replace in-person trade shows. We know that. But, from the virtual brainstorming session, it just allowed people to share common concerns, share some ideas that could be used, within the next year or so. And it was great that it was suggested that CAMA offers similar sessions like that in the future, on some other topic, right? To maybe, be the association that can bring people together in the industry and have those bigger discussions and have those and share ideas with everybody. So it's something we'll certainly keep in mind as we continue with our event planning.
That sounds like a great event. I mean, having 70 people on the Zoom call, how was that, Mary?
We'd never undertaken anything like that before, but again, we had three great moderators. Rob Menzies with 6P Marketing, and he's our national chairperson. Lauren Davis with Bear Crop Science, and Amanda Myers, and she, company she's working with escapes me right now. But we had it well organized that they, we had questions that we were going to ask the audience. Everybody used the emojis to raise their hand to ask a question. So we called upon them. They used the chat box to provide input as well. So it actually flowed, and I thought was organized really well. So again, a great opportunity for people just to share ideas.
One of my favorite events of the year is Best of CAMA. Can you share a little bit about what it is and why people should mark that on their calendars and be involved?
Oh, for sure. So I always explain Best of CAMA. It's the equivalent to our Academy Awards for our industry. So this event has been taking place for 38 years. We acknowledge and award the best in Canadian ag marketing and communications. So there's over 50 categories in the competition, and we typically receive close to 400 entries. All entries are judged by peers and other industry leaders in 3 rounds of judging, and the winners are announced at a gala Best of CAMA event. So typically the event rotates through our provincial chapters, with each chapter getting an opportunity to host the event. The event is well supported by companies in the industry, and the profits from the event help to sustain the chapters throughout the year. So last year was the first year that we offered a virtual Best of CAMA, and it was really well received. We had a lot of discussion last year. What are we going to do with Best of CAMA? Do we cancel it? Do we have a virtual? What do we do? So we surveyed our members to find out, should we go ahead and plan this? Should we put it on hold for a year? And we had an astounding response saying, no, we want Best of CAMA. We want to compete in the competition. We want the acknowledgement of our work that we've done throughout the year. So that's really important to our members, that they receive that recognition for the work they do. So I'm pleased to announce that this year we'll also be having a virtual Best of CAMA. So you can mark your calendar for November 18th, and we'll be having our virtual award ceremony at that point. So the entries are all submitted online, and the entry deadline date is September 24th. And all the categories and event information will be posted shortly on our website. But typically, if we were in person, the gala event it's a not miss event that you should be attending. It incorporates the networking part, and it's so important to our association. So we have a cocktail reception, we have a sit-down 4-course meal, and then the awards are handed out, and then the most popular hospitality room after the event as well, where lots of great ideas and discussions happen in the hospitality room afterwards.
Yeah, I've been to a few Best of CAMAs myself, help orchestrate a couple as well. So yeah, that's I love the Best of CAMA, and I think it really showcases companies for the great work that they're doing out in the industry. And I always like seeing the new innovative publications, or if they wrote an ad, or just all the different kind of mediums that they're pushing the messaging out, and just how different companies are helping the industry. And it just generates, as for a marketer, some great ideas on what you can do with your company. So yeah, I applaud CAMA for Best of CAMA, because I think it's important for these companies to really get, like you say, get recognized for their efforts. So awesome work.
Well,
And good on you for keeping it going during COVID, because I know that a lot of things have stopped, but the people that have kept on going have found that there's some interesting ways to do things differently, and sometimes it's for the better. Larger reach. Like you could have a national Best of CAMA. In terms of not, we used to just have chapters, the mini ones, but now you can have national ones. You can bring on a lot of different companies in short order, and not everybody could attend Best of CAMAs before when it was in person. So I just think that's great, Mary, and good work for pulling that together. So can you tell us a little bit about what's on the horizon at CAMA, and like what does the future look like for you guys?
Well, we actually have a lot of great initiatives and events being discussed. So last year, we went through a name evolution process, and we will be announcing the evolved name for CAMA by the end of this year. We have a lot of brand equity built into our CAMA name, so that's not changing. I can let you know that. But our name has changed to be more inclusive of the entire value chain. So that's a pretty exciting step forward for us. CAMA was founded in 1966, so we're in our 55th year of CAMA this year. And really, when I look back on the notes and the minutes from when CAMA was first founded, we really haven't changed that much, which is a good thing, right? We still provide value to our members through networking and educational opportunities. And our foundation obviously has worked for the past 55 years, but we're in the process of evolving. And that's exciting too. So we're going to hopefully be opening our doors to be a little more inclusive, right? And invite a few more companies included in the entire value chain that will see opportunities of joining CAMA. So stay tuned for lots more information about that to come. We'll be announcing that by the end of this year. We've also introduced a CAMbassador program a couple years ago. So our CAMbassadors are industry leaders and strong advocates of CAMA. So currently we have Terry Andreo with ATB, David Lazarenko with ThinkShift, and Lillian Morris of Glacier Farm Media. So our CAMbassadors are available as mentors to our members. And we'd like to expand this program to include a mentorship program for ag students and new members as well. We see that as sort of a need within the industry, and it's their plans that we're currently putting together to provide that opportunity again for just that learning between CAMA members who are a little more experienced and are at the stage that they want to give back to other members. And for new members and new students just coming into the industry, it's nice to have that helping hand and that contact that they can reach out to and provide guidance and input for them as well. So we're working on plans for that. And then we also have plans for a CAMA conference and a student case competition. So these plans have been on hold until we're able to have them in person. But I kind of foresee that all future Best of CAMAs and CAMA events will have a virtual component to them as well, which, like you said, Diana, will be able to expand our audience to include more people if we have a virtual live streaming element to those events as well. So for the conference, it's just we want to expand our speaker sessions. So if people are coming to attend the Best of CAMA, we want to be able to provide some more educational opportunities for them as well. And then the student case competition, again, this is an opportunity to get more students involved with the association and build that connection with the students who will be, the next generation of ag marketers. So we have plans in place to invite teams from Canadian ag colleges and universities to come to the conference, Invest a Cama. We'll present them with a case. They'll have 24 hours to put together their presentation. They'll present it to our CAMA judges, and then the winners would be announced during Best of CAMA. So it's sort of a competition that sort of mimics the NAMA student competition, and NAMA is our sister association in the US. They have a great conference and student competition, so I always thought it was something that we should be able to organize and implement in Canada as well. So we have great plans for that in the coming future.
That's a great idea. If people are their interest has been piqued, how do they get involved? How do they get more information? How do they connect with you?
Well, the best place, if they have any questions or interested in joining the association, is to reach out to me. Send me an email, info@cama.org, or you can check out our website at cama.org as well. And all of our membership information is posted there, as well as any upcoming events. So that would be the best place to locate me.
Thank you so much, Mary. That's been an awesome story that you have. And I just think CAMA is a great organization, like you say, for networking, for highlighting different marketing activities. And so, keep up the great work there. And can't wait to see when these next new things and programs are coming on board, because I think the students could use a lot of that help in those areas. And you've got experts that you've got connected to the CAMA Association. So awesome job.
Right. Yes. Well, thank you. And thank you for the time that you spent with me today. And again, for being able to share our story about CAMA. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks a lot, Mary. We really enjoyed learning about CAMA, and we encourage all newcomers into agriculture and food to join, learn a little bit about the industry and network in. It's a terrific organization. Thanks, Di. And for our listeners, we appreciate you listening to the RHA Ready, Set, Grow podcast. You can find it on the RHA website, YouTube, and on podcasting platforms. So until next week, thank you very much.